I've read your book twice actually. I'd sort of
Oh,
refreshed. I'd
thanks,
read it a couple
Fearne.
of years ago, but I thought I want to reread it ahead of this chat because your life stories that you share are so interesting, and obviously a lot of the chaos started even before that period of your life because there were elements of your childhood that were very extreme, and the circumstances that you found yourself in, sort of leaving home so young after your parents' divorce, and sofa surfing for a bit and living in squats, and then eventually ending up in a children's home. And I think, again, so hugely valuable to read stories like that so other people don't feel defined by their backstory. There have been certainly parts of my life where I've felt fully defined by circumstances that I wish hadn't happened or that I
Yeah.
feel deeply uncomfortable about. And again, in this book, you give people permission to get rid of that and go, no, like, you can have the backstory, but you have to cling on to it. You can move through stuff, deeply painful stuff.
Well, thanks for taking the time to read the book again, because I do know how valuable time is, and I really do appreciate that,
Oh, I
Fern.
loved it.
Thank you. What do I want to say about this? I too was very defined by the things that happened to me in my life. Um, and I think what is really important to know is that this is my life. And once I realized that I had a choice in what I allowed my life to be, sometimes it feels like I'm never going to be free of some kind of some wound, you know, and I'm not, and maybe I won't be, but I've certainly worked through and healed so many of the things that defined me for many years that I was holding on to. And, it's even when I think about the word survivor, because, I have survived a lot, but I don't identify by that because I don't want to just be a survivor. Want to thrive. Surviving is just getting by. And I've spent a large part of my life just getting by, just like, okay, let me just get through another day. That isn't a successful life for me. I don't have a judgment of the periods of time where my mental health was in a state where I was just surviving and just getting through the day. But I want more periods of time where I'm thriving. That's the goal, is to actually enjoy and experience joy. And I think for so many of us that come from immense trauma, for whatever reason, whether it was how we grew up or whatever stage of life it is, it's really hard to experience joy. I mean, I didn't even know what it was. When someone asked me, like, what brings you joy? I was like, I don't know.
Did you
Cake.
have a sense of like not trusting it if it did show up?
Well, yeah, because it was like, well, when's this going to end?
Yeah.
And you know what? It is going to end because all of it ends, all of it changes, but that was too scary. It was too scary to allow the experience of joy because, well, when's it going to leave? And I had to learn even what brought me joy. I mean, I try to do every day something that brings me joy, even if it's like one of the things that brings me joy is when I go for a walk, I stop and I smell people's flowers.
That's so
I'm
nice.
like that person that you see like sniffing your flowers,
I love
your
that.
flower box. I don't do it to everyone's flowers, just the really,
That'd be a long
really
walk.
good looking ones. But like that brings me joy. I love
Yeah.
that smell and I love beautiful flowers. So I try to do something every day that brings me joy because it gets my brain out of the negativity rut. And what are those things? And it took me years to be able to experience it. And a lot of people don't even know what brings them joy. They've got no
Mm.
clue.
It's
And
a big
especially,
question, isn't it? Because
yeah,
especially when you're a parent, and or you're a carer, you've got the responsibility of other humans. You can get so lost in that. I think most people who look after kids or care for family members feel completely engulfed by that. And there's a period in the book that you talk about where you acutely ask yourself that question, where you'd had your first daughter, you're 20, you're going through a divorce, you don't know many people out in Los Angeles, and you don't have a job because you'd left all of the craziness behind in the UK. I actually wrote down the 4 questions that you ask yourself. One of them is, what brings me joy? One of them is, what is unique about me? One of them is, what can I contribute to the world? And the other is, what can I learn to move me closer to that? And I wonder, are those 4 questions, is that a good framework for most things in life for you? Do you go back to those questions and ask yourself that?
In some way, shape, or form, yes, I do. And in fact, I'm in a period of time right now where I'm asking myself all those things again. And the answers may be what they were last time I asked myself that, but they may be different. And if they're different, I have to be brave enough to walk towards whatever that is. And it can be really scary to ask yourself those questions. But I don't really have a choice in when they come up. It's when I feel something inside me isn't quite aligned. And it could be personally, professionally, could be all of them. And I've kind of got them in all areas right now where I'm going, what brings me joy? What am I uniquely able to do? How can I be of service to the world and myself, not throwing myself out with that? And then what are the steps towards that thing? And I'm in a kind of contemplative phase right now of asking myself that, and maybe it's like stage of life and my kids are individuating and, I've been married for 20 years and, it's like, what do I want to spend my time doing? I ultimately have to be open to whatever those answers are. And, it's scary.
Yeah.
Fearne. It's
It is.
scary.